Hello and welcome to Spring Commando Forged Alliance. This will be a video about the RK Explosions mod Tourney, which took place this weekend. Big thank you for Gordon for organizing and holding everybody's hand. Samurai for helping him. RK 4000 for making the mod, which was used throughout this tourney, which is a mod about graphics. I know Giles mentioned it, I've mentioned it, and I'll actually finally show you some replays with this mod. He claims that it actually optimizes the graphics. I'm not really sure if it's true. GPUs are definitely not the limiting factor for most people in this game. But if it does, that's great. And what's amazing about this tourney is that 32 people signed up and 31 people played. Lord Heavy, you are the only one who didn't play, which is, I think, a testament for Gordon's work. It's pretty amazing to actually have a tourney with this many people without a whole bunch of failure. So Gordon is actually going to have another tourney next weekend. Hopefully it's as big. So which means you got to either contact him if you want to sign up. He'll probably put details of that on the forum somewhere. Or if you want to contribute to the jackpot, I'm going to contribute 100 USD to the jackpot for next weekend's tourney, whatever it may be. And for this weekend, I'm not really sure if it was official or not. The champion should contact me and let me know what he thinks. But I'm open to whatever it was. Maybe we can work out some other deal about having something like a best of 15. But if the champion felt like 100 USD was offered for this, then that's fine. But besides that, I know people have mentioned they would want to contribute to this game in terms of jackpots. This would be a good place to do that. So either contact me or Gordon if you want to donate money to the jackpot. And how to do that, I'm sure we can work that out. Yeah, that's about it, and we'll start this off. I'll go through. I definitely won't cast every single game, but we'll try to look at the highlights. So the first thing, I'll skip round one. We'll look at what happened in round two. This is a double elimination, as you can see here. Whole bunch of interesting games. Our shocker in round one was Lucian got beat by Lame. And if you're wondering why I'm not casting that game, it's because the replay is corrupted in the vault. I'm sure one of them has it. But that's something I've seen recently. Something about replays not showing up in the vault, which is a bit annoying. But I think the game I want to see is Vortex versus Soviet Pride in round two. Soviet Pride, you might think he is Russian or Soviet. He's actually from Great Britain, which is a great choice of name for somebody from Great Britain. So without further ado, let's see this game. Not really sure what that actual expression is. Great way to start this one. GG, well played from Soviet Pride. Fucking trees, yes. You gotta be always wary of trees, they'll get you. Whole bunch of pigeons from Soviet Pride. Cybern. Since maybe limited on time here, I want to get through as many games as possible. I'm gonna speed this up whenever I can. If I miss something, nobody should be surprised. Yeah, it always sucks when you screw up, but you gotta remember that your enemy might have screwed up as well. Vortex choosing UEF, and surprisingly, neither player going floating units. Forbidden Pass, one of my favorite maps. It's a great map for a tourney as well. Usually these don't drag on too long. And, oh, Mantis, that's interesting. Mantis in the third spot does inflict a little bit of damage on your potential build capacity early on. Actually, ooh, very aggressive. So Pride is going to use the speed of the Mantis. Yeah. Against the slow, well, mech marines aren't slow, but slow UEF. It's always a pain if you got a mech marine, you got to meet a Mantis. High fire rate on the turret of the Mantis, and I don't know if I agree with this. I like a light assault bot to the top from a Vortex. I like a tank down here, so this is going to be a defensive operation. And it appears, yeah, it's just going to be a split. So very similar builds, except, yeah, I'm definitely going to slow this down. The difference is Mantis versus Mech Marine. Mech Marines will get there first, but when they meet each other, the Mantis will easily win. We already see a second air, land spam, and power spam. Soviet Pride sitting at home for an extra factory. That's interesting. Scout from both players, and this is what it is. The Mech Marine will attempt to escape first kill. Yeah, that was a little bit of RK explosion magic there. On the other side, yeah, see the scout, and this is a big mistake. Oh, I'm so close. That engineer should have died. This is where that Mantis, it's wasted a bunch of time not going in a straight line. But look at all these Manti now, controlling the situation on the side. That makes all these expansions very secure unless we see bombers. Interestingly, Vortex, actually both players went a whole bunch of inties first, anticipating first our second air with a whole bunch of bombers. And it looks like it was something like fourth bomber from Vortex. He's going to try to finish the job out of that NG. If anything explodes in the vicinity of this NG, it is going to die, but it's already got a couple mass extractors. And if you think about what is the difference here of having that engineer survive, if it actually, and a dodge hero right there, and a lot of protection for that engineer as well. Let's see if that engineer can actually survive. If you have 4 mass extractors work for an extra, oh, it's only going to be 2. So for an extra minute with 4 mass extractors, that's about 500 mass. You think about 500 mass is huge early on. That's why this expansion is also critical. So in terms of air, a little more aggression so far from Vortex. Not surprisingly, if you're going to choose one of the top Tech 1 air microers in this game, you would have to mention Vortex. He's definitely doing good. In terms of land here, I think it'll be a victory for Soviet Pride. Meanwhile, there's still another bomber. Yeah, so totally air versus land competition, and both players having some success. This land force from Soviet Pride, though, is very dangerous. Unless these tanks can organize, they're going to get ran over. As we're seeing both ECUs, familiar spots. And another wave of Manti coming in. Although, looking at this build capacity from Vortex, he should be able to compete. Check out that. That's the 4 mass per second difference. Those are 2 mass extractors right there. And once Soviet Pride gets those 4, he's going to have significant mass advantage, because this is an issue for Vortex. And I gotta say, the speed of the Manti really showing here. We're also seeing transport being ready for Vortex. And in terms of air, I haven't seen any attacking units from Soviet Pride, but he's been focused on Manti, or sorry, well, he's been focused on Manti, but he's been focused on interceptors, which have actually 1 air for him. And if that transport is spotted, which it successfully drops off a couple engineers, this is where this force, if it went in and killed those engineers, would be really critical. Otherwise, I think there are going to be enough tanks for Vortex. Wow, that was just good micro. Soviet Pride showing up. Excellent micro on the Manti. He's got to move in and kill those. He doesn't know that they're there. He needs some scouting. Well, it depends what you shoot it with. Yeah. Well, I think the big difference has been the superior Manti numbers for Soviet. And Soviet really are pulling up ahead now. Yeah, I think UEF may not be the best faction on this map. I think if you want some heavy, tanky faction, you got to go with Seraphim here. Seraphim, much faster tanks. Well, not much, but significantly faster tanks than UEF. And the ACU is much more badass. Well, not versus UEF. And finally, Soviet Pride decides to take what's his. He's going to deny a whole bunch of mass extractors. So losing these is completely the result of having more Tech 1 tanks. The ACU for Soviet Pride is going to be quite aggressive. But look at this. In terms of red versus blue, a smaller corner here. Is this a golden ratio right there? It's about a golden ratio. It's trying to break the golden ratio there if you're Soviet Pride. what else will happen? Any upgrades? A Tech 2 mass extractor upgrade. At least 2 Tech 2 mass extractors. The third one coming up for Soviet Pride. So he's really, yeah, he's vesting heavily given his mass advantage. Vortex can't afford to upgrade, which he's not upgrading. He is behind on power and mass significantly. So this will take some awesome play for Vortex to survive. And Vortex, one of the favorites in this tourney. Is Soviet Pride part of Voice of Reason? I think he might actually be. I don't even know people from my own clan. I definitely know Vortex is from our clan. This could be a nice friendly clan action in case people missed the Intergalactic Coliseum. That also ended this weekend. The last round, not surprisingly, BC have taken the first place. Old School could have taken it from them if they won every single game, but I think they lost majority of their games, although I'm not really sure. Well, and of course, Voice of Reason is third. Maybe we'll get a challenge for second if we didn't screw up all the time. But we did. It looks like this is great. Great Manti. What we've seen in this game is Manti dominate, now air dominance from Soviet Pride. I would, if I was Vortex, I would probably rage quit. Given that this is a tourney game, I wouldn't rage quit just because, you know, things happen, like people disconnect and people screw up and they have to leave, or their mom comes into the room and start throwing shit at them, you know, things like that happen. This is a pillar. A pillar could be a way out, perhaps. Also, riptides on this map are excellent. But that is a pillar and a lot of reclaim potential. And that finally an attacking air unit from Soviet Pride, who's also got Tech 2 land. He's got Tech 2 engineers moving out. And still a big gap between these two players. How is Soviet Pride using up all that extra power? He is wasting more than half of his power. Always inexcusable. This is where putting upgrade on the ACU is very good. Or just putting up a couple more air factories. Or even going second air. Or Tech 2 air. One thing people need to realize about upgrades. If you look at the HQ price is 800 for Tech 2 for land. For air, it's only 630, so it's cheaper. So the cheapest way to get to Tech 2 air, if you don't take into account power, is, or just to get to Tech 2 engineers, is through air. Here comes a fairly big assault. And could this be the beginning of the comeback for Vortex? Because I think in an even game, Vortex should be able to win. And somehow, after this victory, leaving a whole bunch of reclaim for Vortex, Soviet Pride is in a position to lose a whole bunch of his map control. He did the smart thing though and put a whole bunch of the map control into his base. Look at all these Tech 2 mass extractors all over the place. There's going to be another one. It's going to be his 7th or 8th. And Vortex, for whatever reason, got cold feet, decided not to move in. This could have been a major problem for Soviet Pride. Instead, he's going to come back. He's definitely not going to catch up to this force, which is making things very dangerous for Vortex main base. And this is, no, he's actually going to come back and try to, not the way you want to play UEF, running back and forth. Very surprised that Vortex did not choose Seraphim. Floating Artie together with, oh, and this could have been a great assault for Soviet Pride if you just took both of these forces and moved in, combined them right there and moved through the back door, in through the outdoor right here. Yeah, Soviet Pride from Britain should know how to go from the back door. Gunships. Oh, look at all this reclaim. I was gonna look at the reclaim numbers here. 1400 for Soviet Pride. Excellent eco. Still, sorry, not an excellent eco. Still wasting a whole bunch of power. Holy shit, 1000 power. I'm sorry. He's wasting so much, but a little more reclaim for Vortex. These gunships, I think maybe could have done something. And yeah, I guess this retreat here for Vortex maybe will prolong his life a little bit, but he's once again given up a large fraction of the map. So how are we going to see this game end? Oh, Tech 2 gunships. Of course, Vortex is ready with some flak. And yeah, you can see a little bit of that RK explosion magic right there. Meanwhile, the front of Vortex base has been very strong. Gotta go from the back, but now the back has also been secured. We're seeing a whole bunch of Sparkies from Vortex. Also, Soviet Pride has been a little slow taking over the map. Here, minute 20. Soviet Pride is now quadrupling the mass income of his enemy, nearly quintupling. Oh man, it's all about just ending the game now. I mean, how about putting cruise missiles, maybe going Tech 3 land? Yep, he's already thinking about Tech 3 land. Or some Corsairs. I mean, take Corsairs, fly over this flak, and kill this. Kill these Tech 2 mass extractors, and just continue to deny Vortex a base. Although, given that Vortex is wasting 1,000 power, killing that wouldn't really affect him. Soviet Pride regroups. Yeah, more engineers. Oh man, Vortex, I thought you were a good player. Okay, good news for Vortex, though. This is a double elimination tourney, so he'll get to play in the losers bracket. Oh, and yeah, good assault here. Good choice. It's nice to just kill off the Tech 1 flak. No reason to take shots from it. Tech 2 power will die, and Vortex will not feel it at all. He can go ahead and reclaim it. But what can Vortex do? He's got to be thinking about a snipe or something along those lines. Soviet Pride, given that he's in the water, if he puts stealth on his ACU, he'll be nearly impossible to kill for a very long time. I think putting stealth here is an obvious choice. As we see yet another assault through the middle, which is not a good idea, given the concentration of these PDs. Looks like Tech 3 land coming up for Vortex, and Soviet Pride feeding Vortex a little bit of mass. Probably not a good idea, and this is a large force of Medusas. As we see, oh my gosh, what the heck? I don't know what the heck this is. That's heptupling? 7 or 8 there. Look at these Tech 2 mass extractors. Only way Soviet Pride gets less Tech 2 mass extractors is if he upgrades some of them. Let's see, you got loyalists coming in. Yeah, I think Soviet Pride could have already easily made 15 Corsairs and a straightforward snipe. Because, yeah, killing off that Tech 2 power was a good start of an assault if you would have continued and killed every single Tech 1 PGen. Because there are no shields here, so all these are very fragile. And if you make somebody's power go to, you know, 100 or 200, this game is basically over. Seeing bricks coming in. And I will definitely speed this up here at the end because it's just basically a slow death for Vortex. Or even going Tech 3 air here would have been a good idea. Tech 3 land will finish it. It's probably the safe way to go. It'll just take a little longer as we see bricks now on the front lines. Vortex will do a little battling. It's a manual overcharge. So the thing about this game, it's got a lot of different kinds of micro. A lot of different... Whoa, that Hydra exploded in... Yeah, I don't know if this is optimized. I'm definitely seeing a lot of stuff happening on my screen that I'm not used to. Percy's coming up next. Vortex continues to be fed 20,000, 21,000 mass, courtesy of Soviet Pride, and only 2,700. Soviet Pride might think Vortex is from Cuba or something like this, given the amount of mass he's getting for free. Should also send in some boxing coaches, just to make it a little more historically accurate. More Tech 3 engineers. And finally Corsairs, something we should have seen a long time ago. Soviet Pride. guess the British Soviet pride does not like Air Force, like to do everything manually on land. Yeah. What is this? Almost a factor 10. Vortex still hoping for Gorton's mother to win the game. Finally, some cruise missiles. Sorry, it's not Gordon. That's Soviet pride. Yeah, should get used to the fact that there's more than one British player in this game. All right. Is this going to be the final assault? Yeah, I think these bricks. Yeah, feeding mass, Amel. Yeah, he's got a spider. Yeah, I definitely gotta say Soviet pride's a noob. Taking so long. Oh man. But I think you gotta concede this election, Vortex. It was really Mech Marines versus Manta, and then Manta just overpowered. All that great micro from bombers from Vortex didn't really make a difference. And YEF do have that disadvantage against Cyvern early on with the speed of the Mantis. Speed of the Manta. Yeah, finally Vortex gives up. Soviet Pride, pretty big win in round 2. Gonna jump ahead a little bit in this Tourney now. See a number of games have taken place. The winners bracket, the finals of the winners bracket is Mr. Smith versus Mad Mozart. They recently did play a best 15, which needed an extra best of 3 to determine who the winner is. Actually, I just might cast those in the near future. So those two players definitely top of the line. However, the losers bracket, you can see those games. Lushi versus Vortex is actually the one I want to see next. And Silent versus Lame. So that's what happens when you lose your games against people like Soviet Pride and Lame. Lucian and Vortex get to meet perhaps the 2 best players in this tourney meet in the losers bracket. Lucy versus Vortex playing for survival in the losers bracket. Whoever loses this is out. Whoever wins moves on. But in the losers bracket, you gotta win every single game. Still a few more to go for Lucy if he hopes to make it back into the winners bracket. First air from Lucy, not surprising. First air from Vortex. You're gonna see a bomber on bomber action. This is actually an interesting question. These 2 players, definitely some of the best bomber microwaves around. So we'll see who gets the better of this situation. From the 2 most known bomber first players. I would have loved to see one of them pull an interceptor first. Nope. Oh yeah, this is definitely mind games. We can definitely see what's happening. They can't. And yeah, you can see the exact same ecos, exact same everything. Actually, shall we go to a split screen for this? First Artie. Yeah, this actually first Artie on this map is not a bad idea if you're Seraphim. So see how these raiders, you can see a little more direct from Lucy. But I think given the raider coverage, yeah, if one of them sees it, the other one's got to see it. No. So Lucy's got to anticipate no bomber. Actually, forget the split screen for now. So neither player saw the bomber. 2 engineers would be good targets. Lucy. What are you doing, dude? Vortex. Throws off a bomb, hits the ACU. I guess this is where the split screen would be nice. Still learning as I go. 1 kill, no kills. However, the ACU is regenerating here. Oh, and another bomb. Nope. Stationary flag put up. No stationary flag for Vortex. Yeah. Oh, now this is one reason you gotta go stationary flak. Because now this bomber with 2 kills and nothing to shoot at it with, it's gonna get more kills. It's either gonna damage your power, it's gonna do all kinds of bad things. So I think Lucy definitely won this, even though Vortex got a little power advantage. Oh, okay, this game is over. This is a very nice losers bracket game, nice and short. Finally, oh, scout. Yeah, of course. Now it's gonna be a pain to find this bomber. Finally, 1 kill, 1 kill. Inties. Actually, I'm surprised Lucian decided to go fly over. He thought that Vortex was actually wouldn't build stationary flak. And surprisingly, by the scores, they're not that far apart. So we saw 3 engineers get killed. A little earlier on the land factory for Lucy. This land factory just got completed. We're all seeing Artie. The ACU for Vortex is going to run across. ACU for Lucy will attempt to deny this expansion. Actually, another thing we got to see these engineers are so far out. These are 3 engineers that Vortex does not have. He doesn't have them, but they're a lot slower, which is not translating in this big gap. So this gap in mass is the difference of those 3 engineers. So Lucian basically needs to screw up. One player who almost never screws up. Yeah, and another bomber for Vortex, and a bit of an air fight, which I think. Ooh, this was a very nice inty, but eventually the numbers, I think, for Lucy won it. Is Lucy having power problems? Why is his mass fluctuating so much? Another bomber. This one actually got a kill. The first bomber killed for Vortex out of 2 bombers. A bomber, very good defensive bomber there for Lucy. Some floating Artie. And now an ACU for Vortex. This is where this could be the last hope for Vortex. If he can deny that PD in time, he can do quite a bit of damage inside of. He's trying to reclaim the Hydra, which is a good idea, but I think, yeah, he does it in time, so that should have an effect. However, in terms of mass, there's still a big gap, and Lucy can start a base on Vortex territory. Vortex will retreat. He does have his own Artie coming in. Got a very good defensive bomber here from Lucy. You can use it to try to deny this Artie. It's very difficult for your Artie to work on a PD when it has to face enemy Artie and enemy bombers. And looks like the defense continues. Got to protect that engineer. Yeah, Lucy playing extremely well. Bit of an Engie fight, and Lucy keeps winning all these small tactical battles, which really sucks for Vortex, as we see frigates coming out now for Lucy, and the gap in eco continues to grow. Vortex losing a bit of health. He did take out the PD, means that he can go in and start doing damage, but he is a bit low on health, so he's got to be careful. Lucy will make his way toward Vortex, the main base. Vortex continues to go to work on Lucian's power. He does not want to take too many Artie shots. Proper micro here. He can, I think, kill everything, but you got to keep an eye on your ACU always. As finally the floating Artie has made it through to the expansion, but the factory is finished, making THAMs. Bombers with multiple kills are up. Will Vortex take back? No. A Hydro for Vortex under a bit of an assault, but it lives. Lucian playing with fire here. He can actually get himself killed if Vortex does proper bombing micro. And Vortex might think about pulling a draw if he gets close enough. Lucy is definitely in the draw territory. This will be an amazing combat. Is Vortex close enough? I don't think he is. 25. And Lucy is not even going to go into the water. They have a frigate fight as well. Vortex Engineer escapes with his life with 4 health. As the domination continues here, Lucy is actually on 800 health, so a draw is totally possible if you hit Control K now. Vortex, did you learn anything from Lame? This is where you hit the Control K. I guess he doesn't know that he can do it, and Lucy will escape. 600 health. Some flak and Tech 2 land for Lucy. Lucy escapes, but he did give Vortex a chance to draw. Vortex just did not take it, and I think with that last hope slipping away, it's actually already slipped away. This could be game over now. You can see in terms of Navy domination for Lucy, although a single sub might be able to do something. Look at that, already for Lucy in the back. And his gap just got really wide. Tech to land for Vortex. He's got some Yanceys, but it's already a Yancey Arty force rolling into his base. 32 kills for Vortex. Lucy's back home getting an upgrade. Once he gets that Tech 2, it'll be even more difficult to kill. And actually, he can sit in the water all game if he wants. Vortex using his floating Arty. No surprise, both players chose Sarah from here. You can see how powerful the floating Arty has been. But you gotta say the MVPs so far have been Lushan's bombers, playing defense and assaulting. Also, the critical Arty with 1 kill. Not Arty, sorry. Stationary anti-air. He definitely was in range for a while. You gotta have that quick Control K reaction. Some drops, some tanks being ferried over. And I'll just speed this up. In the interest of time, Lushan will make it to our next round as Vortex Control Ks. So Vortex in both of his games in this tourney didn't have the best start and played a little survival. So not the best tourney for Vortex. Hopefully you see him this upcoming weekend. Hello, welcome to the finals of the winners bracket. Mozart and Smith, Cybern on open palms, which is really nice. The winner will go on to play the winner of the losers bracket, and the loser of this is going to go to the losers bracket, and I don't think I'm going to cast any more games from the losers bracket except for the next one, so I can tell you the loser is going to get to play Lushan. So let's see. Lushan will stand in the way, and of course if whoever loses this beats Lushan, we might see a replay of this game in the final of the tourney. Second air from Mr. Smith. Second air from Mad Mozart. Yeah, it's really nice to have people like Gorton organize these things. I'd like to stick to just casting. Might have more time to actually do the casting if I don't do tourneys. Although lately I've been a bit lazy with actually doing real life stuff and also just playing, because I like to play this a lot more than I like to cast it. So yeah, 3 engineers on the Hydra. Such a juicy target for a bomber. Yeah, first bomber would have been very good against Mr. Smith. Yeah, now I'm definitely going to cast Badlands Best of 3 between Mozart and Smith. Should be coming out in the next few days. Here comes the bomber, second air, first bomber. Second air, first scout, second bomber. As we're seeing a Manti meet each other. Oh, sorry, that's a hunter. Smith microed the heck out of that one. 2 kills for this Mantis. It's for whatever reason running back. I'm not sure if it needs to. This Mantis was in a great position to kill that engineer and run in behind. I think a missed opportunity for Mozart. He chooses to get his 2 Manti together.
Those have been spotted. They don't want to run into this ACU. A bomber for Mozart has also been spotted. However, oh, sorry, want to slow it down. We did see a kill for this bomber from Smith. Smith slows down just long enough for Mozart to kill him. So one kill for that bomber. The second engineer is already going to have new orders to take the expansion. Open palms is all about taking the expansions. Ooh, that was at least 3 kills there. I think a little better bombers for Mozart to actually see the engineer counts. Yeah, one mod I'd love to see for this game, oh, whoops, is some window here in the corner that would show the total number of engineers for both players. Though I'm kind of afraid of asking people to do mods, because I know Patogo made that awesome sync mod, but then I guess Pilot continued to update the lobby and the game to a point where I think that sync mod might not work anymore, which is kind of really sad given all the work Patogo put into that. And I mean, I'm going to continue to put that replay parser in every single description of any of these videos. It's some awesome tools that Patogo's made. Yeah, these Manti battles, I think a big lost opportunity for Mozart not to send something in behind. Always extremely annoying. A very aggressive ACU for Mozart. A lot more aggressive. Instead, Smith chose to hold on to his expansion with the ACU, which is now translating into a significant mass advantage. This is where Mozart ACU could have stayed back and taken those 4 mass extractors. It would have been a lot more even. And overall, you can see Mozart doesn't really have either of his expansions taken. Mozart will put up 4 mass extractors at factory and at PD. Meanwhile, bombers from Mozart will continue to assault. And yeah, that's going to be a loss here. I think this engineer from Mozart needs to go hide. It's a 6 Manti on the case here. Bit of a waste, I think. Yeah, lost opportunity there for Mozart. Didn't need to send all those Manti and did not need to lose that engineer. Meanwhile, at Smith's base here, a lot of pressure. The bombers continue. This is a 3-kill bomber. See a lot of very good raids from both players. So much aggression actually from both players. Definitely the ACU is more aggressive for Mozart, but these run-bys from Smith have been excellent. This is superior numbers for Mozart. It will be a big loss. These need to run away. And once again, this is always a good place to attack that will cut off any engineers that might go into the expansion. Mozart pulling back with a couple of his units to his ACU, actually pulling back offensively here. And yeah, it's just raiding all over the place. Smith slightly ahead in mass. I think once Mozart takes over these expansions though, he's going to be ahead. However, Smith now venturing forth into the unknown. To try to put up PD, he runs into a superior force. Although I think these units need to retreat. Although they might try to block Smith's ACU long enough for some reinforcements. But that might be a bad idea, as Smith will just get fed. Smith pulling back with a force. And total air domination by Mozart gives him total coverage of what is happening. Smith now in a position to keep on denying. He needs to push right here and kill all these mass extractors completely unprotected. So perhaps Smith baiting Mozart into assaulting his ACU, leaving open this entire side. So that could, I'm not sure if Smith did that on purpose. He could have. But you can see the overall result here. Smith building up a base at this expansion. Needs to continue to deny these mass extractors, maybe even take him himself. And no defense in this game. It's been all offense. And Smith now 14 kills. Yeah, this is nice. 10 minutes of action. Nobody's had the time to take over the top. And I don't know if there are any mass extractor upgrades. Probably not. I think can't afford mass extractor upgrades. Similar forces from both players. I think Mozart needs to retreat. You can see this assault from Smith, how he goes through the narrow portion of that force. Smith 17 kills, a whole bunch of potential reclaim. There's not a lot of build capacity in this position except for that factory. He needs a couple more engineers. Send some engineers there to reclaim. And Smith's still playing a very dangerous game. Though he's still fairly safe. I think this is superior force. And yeah, you gotta continue to force Mozart to chase you. Although in terms of ecos, this is nearly identical. A little more power for Mozart. He's had this power spam going for a little while. We see Tech 2 land. Somebody here, yep, Tech 2 land. Construction has begun for Mozart. That could be critical. There's now an assault from Smith. He needs to avoid this PD. Mozart pushing up ahead, even closer to Smith's base. But he just, no, he's not going to lose this expansion. This PD will continue to work. Bit of a mistake from Smith. Smith now sitting on a PD at the doorstep of Mozart's base. And now only 7 kills for Mozart. 18 for Smith. The reclamation numbers 1,000 for Smith. Mozart at nearly 2,000, so that's definitely an advantage for Mozart. Mozart taking over the top. Expansion. The middle has belonged to Smith just for a little while before it's going to get ran over. And I think this Tech 2 land for Mozart should be big, given there's now a Tech 2 engineer. Might get some T2PDs. This will make it a very strong front line for Mozart, which will allow him to expand more units elsewhere. And I think once Mozart secures this expansion, he'll be in very good shape. He's got engineers there already doing the work. There are no engineers. Well, finally some engineers for Smith, and he really needs to grab these mass ejectors as soon as possible. Mozart just sitting, doing nothing. He's going to get another Hydra. And in the back here, I'd love to see, yep, an engineer's already dispatched on the case. Tech 2 land for Smith, who's actually got a Tech 2 mass ejector that I did not see. So a little more teching for Smith, but a mass advantage for Mozart. That's these 3 mass extractors. Good looking radar also for Mozart, and Mozart could put an expanding or support Tech 2 land factory here. Put some T2PDs and cruise missiles, things like that, on the ledge. Air has been a bit absent in this game, as we're now seeing Tech 2 PDs being put up by Mozart. And now Tech 2 land. Mozart choosing to go with the gun upgrade. Needs to get that as soon as possible before a whole bunch of PDs get put up. And a PD for Mozart. This is a good looking PD. 9 kills, it's going to be 10 kills. PD is worth 250 mass, which is the cost of 5 tanks. So if you get 10 kills, you've definitely paid for yourself. Smith getting a lot of assist on the gun upgrade. However, I think Mozart is in a better shape, especially that he's got that top ledge. He will harass these mass extractors. And that top ledge is really a big difference. 6 mass extractors, or plus 6 mass. This game will be a lot more even without those. And I think Mozart is in a position to take this top ledge as well. As Mozart continues to assault Smith's base, and Smith does not have a lot of defense. He's got a lot of support factories, so he's got a low capacity on his rhinos. He needs to get those as soon as possible because he does not have the tools to defend against the superior force of Smith. The gun is finished. I think stealth is next. Smith giving Mozart a whole bunch of time to build up a defensive position. These defense positions are going to get 3 T2PDs. There's also a lot of rhinos. And yeah, this force is just a little too big. This will be critical. Smith has most of his power in the back here. And power storage as well. Mozart, I think, has won the game here with this assault. It'll be very difficult for Smith to do anything without power. There are a lot of rhinos have just been freshly made. And actually, if Mozart does not kill off this power fast enough, these rhinos will take care. And actually, the effect of that assault will be nothing more than a whole bunch of wrecks delivered to Mozart's base. Oh, and that was a very quick kill. So actually, Mozart just delivered a massive mass donation to Smith. This could be a way back for Smith, who's now got the gun. 42 PD is nearly done. This is, I believe, 100 DPS. So 400 DPS against an ACU. That's on 10,000, 11,000 health in about 20 something seconds. This ACU would die from direct hits, but what is this? That might be the effect of stealth. And Smith, oh yeah, now he's up against a very large force. He needs to overcharge, he needs to do a lot of things. Multiple PDs and his support. Smith needs to survive this. If he survives this, he'll be in good shape. He definitely has a good position elsewhere. Smith now 33 kills. 6,000. If PD goes, no, this PD is still alive. 10 kills on this PD getting vet. I think Smith will survive unless something else happens. This is just ridiculous. As Mozart now with the gun will make an assault on Smith. Smith continues to retreat. The other PD's got 12 kills. Smith, he's 48. He's pretty low. These rhinos really doing a lot of damage. He needs to overcharge, but he does not have power storage. I think if he was overcharging here, he would be in a much better shape. I don't think Smith has the power storage. Well, he's got it now, but I think it's a little late. I think that was the difference. That assault there, all it did, oh, and actually Mozart could be in a bit of trouble. Smith, I think he got a little vet there at the end, but he's gonna die. Is Mozart gonna survive? Smith dies, and I think Mozart would have died here shortly. Oh, he's just not gonna kill him fast enough. Such a close game. I really love these great open palms. Of course, this is not over for Smith. He's going to losers bracket. If he can beat Lucian, he'll be in good shape. We're gonna see that next.
Hello and welcome to the final of the losers bracket. Mr. Smith, fresh off his loss against Mad Mozart, who's waiting for the winner of these two, and Lucy, who's had to fight through the losers bracket from round 1 where he lost to Lame. Cyber on Cyber once again. Let's see if Mr. Smith learned anything from the last game and make some adjustments. He's taking on Lucian, who is known to be extremely strong on this map. Really, any player who's come back from GPG Net and has been playing for a long time is going to be very strong on this map. I think both Mr. Smith and Mozart are relatively new players. Not really sure if they're from GPG Net. And yeah, actually so many players like Gorton is not from GPG Net, Blackheart. It's kind of amazing. It's 3 years since, and the community has really renewed itself, which is awesome. Yeah, if we only had the players who are back from GPG, we wouldn't have much of a community anymore. But we would still be playing because we are the addicted. See a lot of manual reclaim for Lucian. Let's see if that makes much of a difference. Seeing defensive Mantis and scouts looking for any aggression. There is no aggression. These hunters have the aggression, but they are not even past the halfway point on the map. Scout first. Inti. Scout Inti from Lucy anticipating a bomber. He's going to see it. So, yeah, he's going to see it now. And this is a big setback now for Smith. Assuming that bomber will die against the Inti. As good defense from Lucian. Solid play across the board. And that's the effect when you anticipate your enemy to go second bomber. Why is that interceptor not doing anything? Oh, a mistake. But a good dodge. Oh, and is that going to be a bomb? 2 excellent dodges. And that bomber is dead, but there's really no reason to do that dodging there if the bomber was killed in time. ACUs will not meet each other. Aggressive Manta on the left side for Lucy on the right side. Got a Mantis running by. We'll see if there's going to be a little micro here maybe. And yeah, this Mantis needs to just monitor the situation, let the ACU take care of the problem. Good play for Lucian. Air domination, good aggression. Yeah, this is Lucian. This is what happens when Lucian is on his game. He is going to be dominating. This Mantis survived a little bit. Good looking scout from Smith, and this aggression is going to continue. It's a full health Mantis versus low health, so Smith will win that. Scout dies as well.
A bomber for Lucian now with 2 kills. Yeah, I've played against Lucian a few times and it's sucked every single time. Yeah, you have to count on your enemy to make mistakes. When your enemy doesn't make mistakes, it really makes the game very difficult because you continue to fall behind further and further, and then if you're ahead of somebody, you can afford to make mistakes. And even then, when your enemy makes the mistakes, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And so far, you see, it's just excellent. Another bomber. Good defense. I gotta say, Mr. Smith's actually not doing that bad. He's, I think, lost a few of these tactical battles, and actually a complete loss of that is a fairly big problem. And it looks like a drop now for Lushi. Transport. Did he stop that just to scout? Yeah, Lushi with this transport is going to really recover very quickly on this expansion. I'm not sure if I agree with Smith throwing away all these units on the superior expansion here with the ACU, as Smith is going to be very aggressive. He'll kill a couple Manti on his way to Lushi's base. Lushi will have the top. Yep. Inconspicuous Mantis, 4 kills. Successful PD here for Smith. That'll be critical. Stop any assaults. And a good looking mole. See what happens if you're Lushi. You have no idea once that it's there until Smith has a power outage. And now Lushi with a superior force. A lot of Medusas in this force from Smith, and I think that's going to be the difference. With low micro, those Medusas will not be able to do much. However, if Lushi, Lushi's going to continue to move, he'll regroup, he can have a far superior force. Lushi will now take both sides, and suddenly Lushi is now way ahead. However, Smith, and these 2 engineers did a lot of good work. However, these Medusas will take care of the problem. And yep, Lushi. One force pulls back, the other one comes in. You got to recycle the units. Beautiful. Yeah. Very demoralizing. Yeah, minimal losses there. That was a great Medusa shot as well. However, Smith making progress. Tech 2 land for Smith. We got a whole bunch of build capacity on the Tech 2 land with rhinos running all over the place. Smith now, he's going to pull back, probably recover this expansion. And this is a good defensive Medusa there from Smith. A drop coming in, probably want to cancel that. Yep, no cancel, and that's going to be a futile attempt. And actually looking at this, it almost looks like Smith has map control. However, this is a far superior force from Lushi once he combines these 2 forces. And if he doesn't stand in range of Medusas, he has the potential to kill everything in this area. As Lucian, yeah, he's definitely thinking about what to do. I think he's going to run into a superior force with ACU and rhinos. And Medusa's been snuck into the back. That has the potential to do a lot of damage, as long as it doesn't get reclaimed by that Engie. And yeah, a Mantis on the case will take care of for Smith. As Lucian has actually come back with his ACU. Yeah, we might see an ACU and ACU battle here. Both players have Tech 2. I think I saw an overcharge from Lushi. He definitely has a whole bunch of power storage you can do. Oh, what is going on? Red Death. Alright, I'd like to take this moment to say, don't let, when people ask you to do live casting by being an observer in your game, just don't do it, because it's just going to create a whole bunch of lag. Have them watch the replay, give them the replay. There's no reason to have that little delay. It makes no difference. It actually makes the cast much better because you can go faster. People in general don't like to see lagging cast. As Smith, that was a nice overcharge. Smith, this is mostly Tech 1, a couple Tech 2s here as well. Lushi will be safe, he will retreat. Oh, maybe he won't. Smith a bit low on health, 16 kills, 17. Lushi full health. And so many dead units here. Lushi sensing blood. Oh, and that PD could have been critical. Smith needs to overcharge. 18 kills. Lushi could kill him right now. But he is retreating for some reason. He's got total air coverage. He knows his game is over, but he's not ending it. Smith up against, oh, it's a great overcharge. And now this game is over. Interesting. I thought this was going to be a draw. Alright, let's see what we can see. Alright, so a little bit of confusion here. I guess these two players decided to do a rematch. I think Lushan offered a rematch. Perhaps it had something to do with all the observers that were in the game that were lagging it. Maybe it wasn't fair for whatever reason, but it looked like a legit victory for Lushi. But I guess Lushi feels confident enough that he doesn't need to take a victory that wasn't sure, which is nice. It's always nice to see these are all friendly. Even the money tourneys should always have that friendly atmosphere to them. So if there's a question, you gotta just do the replay. But of course, if people begin to abuse that, you gotta make that call. If you feel like people are abusing that rule, then just claim your victory. You always have that precedence. That's why it's always the player, like in this case Lushan, who just won, has the precedence to make that call. Lushi going to second area with 5 pigeons, 2 engineers on the Hydra, a whole bunch of reclaiming. But he did go first, light assault bot. There's also, once again, little lags for whatever reason. Light assault bot battle is won by Smith. No engineers were killed. Excellent opportunity to do a bomb. Smith's not making anything. He's afraid. He's gonna make interceptors. He's learned. And oh, I'd have loved. Well, I guess it's just gonna interceptor. Yeah, actually, both players going interceptor. Lushi. I guess in Lushan's case, it makes clear sense to make that interceptor in that case. You're either gonna see interceptor or bomber. The only time you make bomber is when you don't expect second air from your enemy. Bit of an air fight. Whoever makes the sharpest turns wins. I think there were sharper turns, but the second inti comes in, takes care of the problem. Scout dies as well. That interceptor needs to fly away. It's going to be an easy victory for Lushi 2 versus 1. And Smith mixing it up. He's going to expand to the other side. A very critical engineer for Smith could be in a bit of danger. Mantis is going to play a little D and successfully defends that engineer. A bomber now for Lushu, who's got a superior air force. Smith is not going to be aggressive. He's going to just take his expansion. A bomber now coming in. He's going to finish the job. Critical bombing kill there for Lushi. This is where the bomber is at its best. Actually, I think that engineer is going to die. Such a critical expanding engineer, very far away from base, so it'd be very difficult to replace it. Some good raiding units from Smith. And actually, this is another good kill. So this bomber so far, I think the MVP finally gets killed. As Smith with superior number of manti could have the numbers to do significant damage. He's going to kill that engineer. He's got a micro and regroup. As both ACUs have done an excellent work on the other expansion. Smith a little slower. He's going to get his factory maybe 20 seconds later. As Lushan has successfully defended his expansion. Actually, this engineer lived for Lushi. And that's the critical thing. When you see your expansion getting killed, you got to hide that engineer so you can rebuild quickly once you actually recover. Lushi, once again, with a very quick transport. He's going to... Yeah, that's the great thing about taking air control in this map. You can go transports. However, air control is definitely not in Lushan's favor. It looks like Smith has recovered air, but he wasn't scouting often enough. Lushi is going to get a big advantage once again by taking the top side, as we're seeing two different battles. These engineers are going to work on a PD. This could be bad for Lushi. If these Manti kill those engineers, the engineers once again run away. One engineer survives. Tech 2 land for Lushi. And most of the raids have been on Lushan's side. Oh, wow, that's a hero Mantis there. Smith has mostly taken his side of the map. He hasn't taken the sides. I think sides are going to belong to Lushi. The back is going to be a problem for Smith, given that Mantis. It's going to kill 3 mass extractors. And now we're seeing Tech 2 land for Smith. See, maybe these are the Medusas, supporting factory. 2 land factories making Medusas. Very long factories in this game for Lushi. Very quick Tech 2 land here before minute 10. Lushi has his transport on the top ledge. Smith starting his gun upgrade. Could be in a bit of a dangerous spot if he's find out. Lushi is nearly done with Tech 2 on his ACU. As Hero Rhino, he's already got 13 kills. So running everything over. It's really a question of engineering in this position for Lushi. How quickly will he get those? That's where he's got to get that transport, put some engineers in that spot. More Tech 1 land waves coming in for Smith. Has been really assaulting this position non-stop. Smith nearly done with his gun upgrade. He's only got Tech 1 units to defend against a whole bunch of Manti together with a Rhino, but this PD is going to do a lot of good work. Smith done with his upgrade. Lushi's Rhinos continue to defend the expansion. 15 kills. You got to keep an eye on that tank. 17 kills. See how many he gets. Lushi with the transport, trying to be inconspicuous. And now Rhino is also coming in from Smith. Smith with map control. And look at that. 6 kill Mantis waiting in the bushes to light that ass up. Yep, it's the kitchen. Another excellent Rhino for Lushi. Oh, these Rhinos just in time. Oh, Lucia's going to change his mind. He's going to wait for the proper time to drop off. Look at that. 7 kills. He's actually going to leave. He needs to come back and get 3 more. Get the 10. Rhino and Rhino action. 4 kills for that Rhino. Where's the hero Rhino? 19 kills. It'll be enough to kill off the last Rhino for Smith. So the transport drop off engineers. A lot of reclaim potential on that expansion. A lot of battles have happened here. Lushi's for the most part Tech 2 is really upgraded his force quickly. 2600 health. Sorry, 2700 reclaim. That's going to go up. You can see it's going up fairly quickly for Lushi. Smith 3700, actually 1000 in the bank. He's got Tech 2 power. He's got a couple mass ejectors going to Tech 2. Smith looking very good actually. I think Lushi went very quick Tech 2 land. That has cost him a little bit of time on this expansion. However, he is recovering fairly quickly. There's no Tech 2 power yet for Lushi. At least I'm not seeing it. He might actually have it somewhere. Lushi T2 PDs with Lushi's facing a very strong ACU here with a big posse of Tech 1, Tech 2 units. Smith 6 kills with the gun. Very powerful force for Smith in the middle if you choose to move that in. Expansion for Lushi for the most part secured, and now this is where it's a very big pain if you lose both these ledges, and you can see expanding factories in both those ledges. I personally love to do things like this. Lushi is unhappy about something. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, mobile missile launchers, you put them on this ledge, you put flak, things like that, and you can see this expansion should belong to Smith, but the result of not grabbing these ledges is that you don't just get these 3 mass extractors, you get a whole bunch of mass extractors denied, and you can see now the mass difference between these 2 players is huge. And anybody designing maps, you got to look at maps like Badlands, you got to look at maps like Open Palms, where an expansion like this, which is hard to get to, relatively hard compared to the others, it doesn't just give you extra mass extractors, it gives you a position from which to assault. So it has not just the economy value. It also has important strategic value. It's really nice. Rivers has that to a point. It has those rivers, which are very strategically important. As you're seeing, Tech 3 land for Lushi. This is great. Lately, I've been looking at some noob games, not casting, just watching replays, things like that. And people are, yeah, I guess it's hard for people to learn this game, to play it correctly. People try to play it the old way, it does not work. There's a couple loyalists sneak through. A lot of potential reclaim for Smith. Oh, and that Rhino finally. Where's that hero? Did we? Oh, we lost the hero. Oh, whatever. Yep. Look at these MMLs. That's really sucks. As the loyalists, they're gonna make it all the way into Smith's base. Smith working on Tech 3 land. He's way behind. These loyalists are gonna go in deep. Oh, they're gonna assault the Tech 2 power. Excellent choice of target. Tech. Oh, and they also saw Corsairs. That's a great piece of intel. Oh, and the second power. Oh, is he gonna be killed? 300 health. Oh, and that loyalist is such a badass. 10 kills. Finally gets taken out. Smith is now way behind on power. He probably could pause some things, but he's dealing with it pretty well. Smith to 7,000 reclaim, 10,000 for Lushi. And now Lushi, you can see from both sides. That's overall, that's how you do. You get both sides. You get Tech 2 land, deny all the expansions, and have your enemies suffer. As we're now seeing trebuchets dispatched to the front lines for Lushi. No, he doesn't have Tech 3 on his ACU, but he's got a Tech 3 engineer here. He's not gonna die to a snipe. A very secure position for Lushi's ACU, a position from which Lushi is going to assault with trebuchets. Tech 3 land, so this entire game Lushi wants first to Tech 2, first to Tech 3, and he's been quicker on the transport. He has used his strategic position to deny a lot of the map. He's had excellent micro. We might have Lushi back. Is Lushi back? I want to see him get a nice test against somebody like Blackheart, which is perfect. Blackheart and Lushi needs to do a best of 15. If people are still watching this cast this far along, please suggest maps for a best of 15 between Blackheart and Lushi. We'll have a $100 prize for the winner. We all know the format, same format as before. Of course, yeah. Let's do that. Let's see the test. Smith, gun upgrade, and stealth. Of course, I do have to slow down and not throw too much money at this game in a short amount of time. Yeah, it's a heat of the moment type of thing. Bricks coming out for Lushi. Lushi is way ahead. I'm actually going to speed this up now. What can Smith possibly do? I think he's got a very good looking force. He's got a badass ACU. He will attempt to break through Lushi's main base, which is a very good choice, given, oh, now Smith. Oh, yeah, you don't just take on Tech 3 units like this with a lone ACU. Smith's units left him for just a little too long, but it probably wouldn't have made a difference in the long term. But having the ACU take on all those loyalists together with a brick or two and trebuchet fire, you can't expect the ACU to survive unless you're Seraphim with double nano. Excellent play from Lushi. We're going to see a final between Lushi and Mad Mozart. Maybe Mad Mozart is a good enough test for Lushi. Maybe. Hello and welcome to the final, Lushi and Mozart on White Fire. And I got a note about the rules for, I'm not sure if it's a universal rule for a double elimination, but the person who comes in from the winner's bracket, both players claiming to lose and they don't care. No winner, and Mozart wants to sleep. Um, I guess it's an advantage for Europeans because if you're Russian like Mozart, these tourneys take a little bit of time. It's nice to see people play a whole tourney in one day, but it's probably like 4 a.m. But that's what you gotta do. Lucy is in France, so it's probably only like 12 or 1 or something like that. But France versus Russia in this one. I guess they were allies at some point, maybe. Oh, history. Let's see, but what was I gonna say about rules? Yeah, important. Uh, Mozart can lose two. Well, he can lose once. Lushan can't lose because yeah, basically, if Lushan wins this, he needs to beat Mozart one more time. Not sure if that's a standard rule for double elimination or not, but it seems fair to me. White Fire, lots of reclaim early on, something like 2,500, something like that. Another 2,500. You don't want to lose those. You don't want to get them stolen. First bomber from Lushi. Something maybe a bit unusual on this map. Well, relatively unusual. Usually you don't see it. But first bomber could be fairly potent. There are a lot of places to expand to. And early on, there are usually many engineers trying to build up power. And actually here, you can see the lack of mass extractor so far for Mozart. So, yeah, exactly. Thank you for illustrating my point. 2 bombs dropped off this engineer from Mozart, though successfully dodges. The other engineer also successfully dodges. See flak now coming out, stationary flak also on the way. But a mass stall, because this engineer that was supposed to be providing all the mass didn't do it. The difference, yeah, now where's that mass coming from? The great thing about this map is that all the mass isn't just concentrated in that wreck. There's always little chunks of mass here and there. Another kill for Lushan's bomber. Is that a total of 2 kills? Is that going to be the third? Nope. I gotta say Mozart is very good at dodging. Dodging Seraphim bombers is very difficult, and if somebody tells you, oh, the Aeon bomber is just as good, because all the stats are all the same, well, it's actually not true, because the release point on the Seraphim bomber is quite different from Aeon. All the other bombers except for Seraphim, there's the time of flight for all the bombs is quite a bit longer. So that's why Seraphim bombers are so feared. Scouts now for Mozart, another bomber for Lushi. And I gotta say, based on the stats, you wouldn't say that Mozart's that far behind. What is he exactly behind on? This engineer is a little quicker. This engineer is significantly quicker for Lushan. Lushan is hoping to steal some more. And there's another bomb. Is that a double bomb there? So this engineer has the potential to steal a bunch of mass. However, Mozart's ACU is on his way to take that. This engineer is a little faster. And, oh, that was, yeah. That didn't do much. Is Mozart mass stalling again? Yeah, he is mass stalling because he's been denied access to this mass. Yeah, now it's actually translating into a significant advantage for Lushi. Lushi rushed to Hydro, and that's another big difference. Because engineers were getting killed, they did not get to the Hydro as quick. So now Lushan is in a significant advantage. A bit of an air fight. And this hero interceptor actually gets a kill. 2 versus 1, but can't expect him to win that one. That engineer is still on his way. Naval factories, and yeah, given its wide fire, Navy becomes really a critical aspect of this map. And this power advantage is huge because this early mass that you get, in order to use it, you're gonna have to need power. So the more power you have, the quicker you can use your mass. And the simplest way to use it is to upgrade mass extractors. You already see at Tech 2 from Lushan. Why am I at only at +0? It's because of all the action. Yeah, Mozart's ACU is going to be quick enough. This would have been absolutely brutal. And Mozart, yep, just in time. If Mozart would have lost that, it would have really sucked. Mozart walks past that. Oh, he was there at a perfect timing. He could have walked past. And scouts for Mozart. He might think about dropping this position. But it looks like Mozart will use his ACU to grab the side mass extractors. Mozart maybe catching up a little bit on power. He still doesn't have any of his hydras. He's about to get 2 hydras, so he's going to get a big boost. Lucian has just started his 2nd hydra. As we're seeing frigates, so in terms of naval, Mozart was quite a bit. Yeah, he's invested a lot more into naval. Thing that Mozart hasn't really done is upgrade his mass extractors. He's only now beginning his 1st, which is now growing into a huge gap. That's really the way to play this map, is to take this early mass and convert it into mass extractor, and then use your superior income to do something. Mozart, this is bad. He was walking back and forth. Ideally, he would have walked by, sucked up just enough to fill up his bank account, and then continue walking. But he had to retreat and abandoned a half-built land factory. That's always not the most optimal way to do things. Mozart getting a little more power as well. Power is very even. 2/3 detective mass extractor. We're seeing 4, 5 tech to mass extractors. Are we going to see another one here? No, it looks like it's 5 tech to mass extractors. A lot of build capacity. Walking over to a factory. Interesting that Lucian chose this factory to be his tech 2. It's a little it's gonna be a little difficult maybe to get units out, or maybe it's actually gonna be good. But it's quite crowded. Tech 2 Navy for Mozart. He is a bit quicker. And when you're fighting these naval battles, and it's Tech 2 Navy versus Tech 2 Navy, the ideal time to get your Tech 2 Navy is right after your enemy gets Tech 2 Navy, because as soon as you start Tech 2 Navy, that means a lot less mass for the rest of your eco and as you're upgrading. So you want to start that just in time to protect yourself from the enemy navy. Or if you don't start it fast enough, you're gonna die. But you can see that's nearly perfect for Lucian. Could have probably done a little bit slower, but you don't want to risk it, given the superior Tech 1 naval advantage for Mozart. But now that Lucian has already got a Tech 2 destroyer and he's spotted this navy coming in, he is going to be able to defend, and I think he's going to get the 2nd destroyer out by the time this naval force comes in. It's so only Tech 1, Tech 2 coming in, and you can see now with Lucian with superior mass income is actually, he's going to get his 2nd destroyer faster than Mozart. So now the question is, how much do you want to invest? And it's really going to go down to micro and cyber and Seraphim destroyers, the 2 best destroyers in my opinion. It's high fire rate, longer range than this destroyer, better torpedoes than the Seraphim destroyer. However, this destroyer can dive underneath now 2 destroyers, and this destroyer is impossible to dodge. And also a weakness of the cyber destroyers, it can't shoot backwards, so when you retreat, your only firepower are your torpedoes, which is only about 100, a little over 100 DPS. Meanwhile, the main cannon, if every shot hits, is something like 250, 230. Don't remember for sure. But you definitely want the main cannon firing at all times. Another reason to choose Seraphim on this map is, of course, floating arty, as well as the Yancey. Cyberns have a better frigate. Not by much, but still better. It's definitely better at, well, 16 DPS versus 13.3 DPS against air. In terms of the stats, other stats, you see on health, 2000, a little less health for the Cyber Destroyer. And 4 versus 3. And I gotta say, these destroyers were dancing quite a bit, and they're all still alive. The difference in range between this destroyer and this destroyer, yeah, this shit's so OP. Yeah, you just dodge all these shots, and then you don't miss with your own shots. Yeah, that's brutal. Lucia just showed just how much of how powerful the Seraphim Navy is if you micro. If you don't micro it, the Cyberns will dominate you. They'll just shoot you at range. Yeah. Yeah, the boss is home. Yeah, and I didn't mention in the previous game about the best of 15, and I'm totally serious about it. If Lucy and Blackheart want to do that, we just gotta choose the maps. Definitely would love to see that. A lot of misses there. But this first game, is there really any way for Mozart to come back? I don't think so. What we basically saw was the first bomber denying at mass, screwing up Mozart's plans. Mozart going superior Tech 1 Navy, which really didn't do too much for him. He went a little quicker Tech 2 Navy, but it wasn't quick enough to deny Lucian. We saw a battle in the middle where micro and superior numbers for Lucy absolutely dominated. I don't think Lucy lost a single destroyer. And look at these. And nothing could have been done by Mozart. Of course, Mozart still has one more chance. It'll be the same map. Mozart is going to drop off. It's Tech 2. Oh, he's probably looking for the enemy ACU. That transport just might die. Ooh, and a cruiser. Cruisers. Oh, that's it. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. Mozart, just like against, Lucian, just like what he did against Smith, especially in that second game, was so well played, using the tech, using the micro. And this, you wouldn't think that Mozart is one of the top players in this game. I mean, this is the final after all. So hopefully people enjoyed this. We got one more game, and the next one is going to be the last one. Hello and welcome to the final. Lucy and Mozart, whoever wins this, is the champion of this RK Explosions mod tourney. And actually, one of the things that was offered for this tourney, besides a bunch of avatars for first, second, and third places, is, of course, Smith is third place, was an offer from RK to choose what kind of animation you want for a unit, an explosion for a unit. So let's see, it's either going to be Mozart or Lucy who gets to decide what that is. And at the end of this video, I will reveal what was chosen by the winner. Mozart, anticipating first bomber. Not really changing things up too much. Not first bomber for Lucy. I personally love when you know that people are afraid of first bomber. You go first air, a bunch of engineers, and like at fourth, fifth spot, make a scout, which is very cheap. And then you'll have it fly over your enemy. It gives you really good intel about what will happen. It gives you good protection in case your enemy does go first bomber, or even second bomber you can see, or second air you can see what they're going to be making. But it usually freaks them out. It can make them make flak when they don't need to. Mozart, this is where I think here, instead of starting the nail factory so early, he could have probably sucked up a little more mass there, so even if he loses that engineer, it wouldn't really have a huge effect. He didn't make that adjustment. Once again, Mozart is going to go with a very strong naval push. Let's see if this will make a difference. Multiple scouts from second air for Mozart. Second air in T's. We're also seeing Navy coming up for Lucy, but a much quicker frigate's going to come out for Mozart. And that's really a strength of Mozart, which I think comes from Zlo. I know Mozart and Zlo played quite a bit. A lot of things that Mozart does, I think he learned from Zlo. Although I guess I'll agree that they don't really have exactly the same style. Nobody has the style of Zlo, but both of them are extremely good with early Navy, especially Siren. So let's see if he can do something here against Lucian. Really good scouts this time for Mozart. He is behind on power because, once again, Lucian loves rushing that early Hydra. 2 engineers in the Hydra once again. And an engineer for Lucy will make an attempt to steal some of this mass, and this bomber saw it, but an interceptor is going to take care of it. So we're going to see an NG on NG battle. Both of these engineers have enough scouts, so they know they're in each other's vicinity. And now Lucian still hasn't changed his order. Mozart has to be anticipating. And it's basically whoever pulls the trigger first, they both pull the trigger. That was a huge lost opportunity. If whoever would have won that one, I think this is overall a victory for Lucy. But if Lucy would have won that, it would have been over. If Mozart would have won it, he would have been in excellent shape. But now it could be a little dangerous. Mozart, with his early frigate, he is scouting. He could have denied an engineer if it was coming, but an ACU came instead. More frigates coming out, and you see in terms of early build capacity, so much more for Mozart. Mozart, even on power, but you gotta remember, he's getting that power from pigeons, while Lucian's getting it from a Hydra, so I anticipate Lucy probably has a couple more tech-to-mass trajectories, sitting on 2 currently. Also, Lucy a little quicker on expansion with his ACU. Good looking bomber for Lucian. Early and naval. Ooh, you gotta kill that, you gotta kill that. Don't let him finish. Oh, yeah. Critical unit. Would have been nice to have Lucy invest most of the cost of a Tech 1 torpedo launcher and not actually finish it, but that did not happen. A torpedo launcher will do a lot of damage against your Tech 1 Navy, especially a submarine. You don't want to be taking that on. This is a very expensive unit too, 450 mass, basically a Tech 2 PD right there. And that's a critical part of this game. I think if that wasn't finished with all the superior numbers for Mozart, he could have probably done quite a bit of damage, and he could have easily killed that engineer. So that was a window of opportunity for Mozart to do a lot of damage. But now he's going to be in inferior mass income, and he's not stalling on mass, which means he's probably not upgrading. Well, he's upgraded in a second just now. But he still has this chunk of mass that he hasn't utilized. Lucian has sucked up all of his mass. And a bomber for Lucian is poised to deny a lot of mass ejectors here. This is potentially 4, 5, 6, and a Hydra. If you can deny 4 mass ejectors for a minute, that is 500 mass. It's a good number to remember. Excellent bomb. And a naval battle. And overall, I don't know if I agree with this battle for Mozart. I guess if he wins this, he can continue to deny the Tech 2 naval production. But the Tech 2 naval production hasn't been started for Mozart, so even if he wins, it's not really that big a deal. What he is doing, he's depositing a lot of potential reclaim. And actually now, yeah, that torpedo launcher has been completed. And Lush is showing power of early torpedo launchers. And yet another bomber. Yeah, these bombers have been quite potent. Mozart still behind on mass. He has sucked up his last, and his bomber for Lucy being annoying, killing an engineer. The ACU, I guess, for Mozart. And another wave of Tech 1 units. This destroyer is halfway done. If it wasn't for that torpedo launcher, I think this could be quite dangerous for Lucian, but that torpedo launcher did quite a bit of shots away from the rest of these units in the area. And we're going to see Tech 2 Navy here anywhere. No, not yet. I think it's going to eventually be that. But Mozart is not going to have it in time. Once that destroyer is finished, it's going to beat ass, and it's going to claim a lot of reclaim. And it's finished now. It's going to just go underwater, kill everything. Actually, can surface. Strategic loss, major loss here for Mozart. Because now look at the reclamation numbers. Mozart 10,000, Lucy 10,000, and that's going to really change here shortly. Tech 1 Navy continues to roll in. And actually, oh no, I thought the destroyer died. No way, it died. Still doing damage. More bombers for Mozart, continue to deny. So, Tech 1 Navy and another torpedo launcher for Lucy, just abusing the torpedo launchers. And we got to remember that one should not have been finished, and that could have been game. No Tech 2 Navy yet for Mozart. Mozart instead, sensing that he's at a big disadvantage, has rushed Tech 2 Navy, making torpedo bombers. So he's going to combine Tech one Navy together with torpedo bombers to try to do something. His bombers have been quite good. His ACU is getting an upgrade, which I think is going to be, is it on the back? Is going to be the torpedo launcher. So Mozart doing interesting things here, sticking to Tech 1 Navy. He's going to go torpedo launcher on his ACU. He's got Tech 2 Air. He has deposited a significant amount of mass, which Lucian still hasn't picked up. He is getting victories on expanding. If he kills this in time before the destroyer comes out, and actually I think he will because this has now been cancelled. This original destroyer here is actually quite low on health. Lucy should have had that underwater. And Lucy actually loses a destroyer, but there's a second one here. And torpedo bombers now coming in. Target the destroyer preferentially. Each torpedo bomber does about 700 damage, I believe. For a destroyer, you need about 10 in one volley. Still no Tech 2 Navy. The ACU for Lucia actually doing a little overcharging here. I'd love to see engineers from Mozart come in and actually suck up some of this mass. Lucia is ahead on mass. I see he's been upgrading this entire time. We're finally seeing some upgrading for Mozart. Mozart with this, yeah, the ACU is not going to roll in. I wonder if he's got Tech 2 on it or not, but he's got torpedo launcher. He's got a stealth as well. He does not have Tech 2, which I think is... Oh, get out of the way. He doesn't have stealth. He's just got the torpedo launcher. Gunships for Mozart. These gunships need to go to work. Oh, there's a lot of Tech 1 flak here. But you gotta hit anything that's unprotected. With all these frigates, you can see so much anti-air from them. So you can see the strategy for Mozart is actually quite good. I don't know if it's going to be enough to kill Lucian, who is still ahead. But I think if these gunships go to work, no, they don't want to go there. There is splash on these, but this is Tech 2 land. Okay, now it's Tech 2 flak. So all of that air has been thrown away. A couple of very valuable gunships, I think, could have attacked somewhere else. I think with those gunships hitting these engineers would have really, I don't want to say end the game, but it would have really dented Lucy's production. But now I see 3 destroyers, and I think finally Mozart gets the idea, but now there are a lot of flak in this area, and the cruiser is going to come out next. That cruiser is going to clean up, and this is not the way you want to lose your aircraft, although I think Mozart is going to try to claim some of this mass back, and you got to give it to Mozart for not giving up all this mass so quickly. Lucy is at 21,000 reclaimed now. Mozart 14,000. You know where Lucy's got the last 10,000, although some of it came from these trees, but a lot of it came from here. Cruiser is now online, which means no more flying in this area if you want to live. Mozart, I don't know what would be the best target for this cruiser. I guess hitting this factory overall would be pretty nice. Tech 2 transport perhaps can do something. A huge air spam now. Corsairs for Mozart, but of course air is difficult once that cruiser gets into the correct position. These destroyers want to circle around, and these bombers are getting some excellent kills. Cyber destroyers, very good in every single situation. Requires torpedoes. And now I just gotta stay away from that cruiser already with 9 kills. I remember one game when Vortex had his cruiser get constructed right under a cloud of interceptors. It was born with about 50 kills. Got him nearly instantly. And I gotta say, I like what Mozart's doing. It's a bit unusual. He did not get a couple very critical tactical victories, especially that. This is the MVP. But overall, his strategy has been pretty strong. He is behind because of those losses. And now you can see what Lucian's operating on is Tech 2 land, and yeah, that's a 1. Still just a 1, 2 destroyers. And what frigates don't want to do when you're taking on destroyers is to have second thoughts. You don't want to get stuck here in this range where you don't shoot, but you get shot at. There's a small raiding group from Lushi on the left side. I thought this game was over 10 minutes ago, but Mozart continues to battle. However, he continues to lose these small battles. And this is going to be a major problem. I think these Corsairs could take care of it. So a lot of Corsairs, perhaps a snipe is in the works. Lushi's way the heck in the back, making flak around himself. There's also Tech 2. I gotta say that the use of these Corsairs has been excellent. The use of air overall, this requires a lot of control. Mozart continues to push against these destroyers. And I think there is still a corridor to continue to bomb this. Another cruiser on the way. Corsair is going to work. Don't want to turn over flak. This Corsair just got hit pretty hard there, but they did take out a couple of mask extractors. Yeah, I think this Corsair is very expensive loss for Mozart. Mozart with his ACU with 2 kills. He's facing off against a very large force. These destroyers underwater. Cruiser now with 2 kills. It looks like it's a fresh cruiser. Some of the other cruisers have died. Looks like this was a problem for a while. Tech 2 mask extractor was taken out. More Corsairs on the way. Still no Tech 2 Navy for Mozart. Mozart still behind. You can see this mass income for Lucia continues to climb up. But one thing that we aren't seeing is now 31,000. Mozart 17,000. So the gap continues to increase. This cruiser needs to die. Somebody tap it on his shoulder. Yep, there it is. And look at all these engineers ready to, poised to take the mass back. Something you don't want to allow. Now once you get a critical number of destroyers here against the Mozart's ACU, it's not going to be able to compete. I don't actually remember the stats. What's the stat for the ACU torpedo launcher? I know it's very powerful. And how powerful it is, I'm not sure. And now even if there's no cruiser here, Tech 2 flak combination. Once again, we're seeing that Seraphim, whenever you talk about what faction is the best for naval, very difficult to make a case against Seraphim. They have all the different tools. They have a couple weaknesses, but overall their battleships have nukes. That Tech 2 transport got out in time. Those engineers are not going to survive. Oh, you gotta keep your head underwater. Just got hit by more than probably wanted to get hit by. Mozart, he could be dead here. You got really good control on Tech to Air, and Tech to Air will do good things for you for a little while. But who was that general who said something about Air Force is only good for, oh man, I wish I remember that quote. I'm gonna look up that quote. At some point you're gonna have to put your boots on the ground and fight it out. In this case, underwater. Mozart loses 2 games to Lushi. Lushi shows that he's definitely in a position to take back his title as the greatest Supreme Commander Forged Alliance player. He's definitely given that up over the last few months. But I think this is a big step for him to claim that back. He needs to, first thing he needs to do, he needs to beat Blackheart in a best 15. I'll put up 100 USD. Please post suggestions for maps. I may or may not listen to them. I want to choose maps that both players really are gonna like, and maps that, yeah, that it's not gonna be one player wins 3, another player wins 3. I want them to be very even and not piss people off. So actually, if Lucian and Blackheart want to suggest those maps, that may be the ideal situation. So hopefully people enjoyed this journey. Looking forward to next week.